Well, good morning. I'm Rob Lightfoot, and this is Thinking Funny 22, our second annual humor conference with a number of really cool people that I think you're going to find inspiring and helpful. Now, we're going to get going in about a half an hour. Our various presenters have been checking in with me and been kind of tending to some housekeeping. I want to introduce them in just a moment, but first, let me thank you for being here. This is a place, a safe place, no matter where you are in how developed you are, what your goals are. I think you're going to find some very useful stuff. We have all kinds of material from getting ideas, getting through blocks, dealing with serious topics in a lighthearted way. Even business letters to help you be more effective. Travel writing, memoirs, and straight up comedy writing with comedic techniques that have been proven in all kinds of genres and disciplines. And if you really want to create a comic cast with legs, we have someone to help you with that too. We're going to get near the end of the day. We're going to have an agents panel to talk about how to propose a book idea or the tools that are out there, all kinds of really neat stuff that I think you're going to find actionable, helpful. And by being here, you get to hear my clock in the background, maybe. You're becoming a part of a community because this isn't just a once and done thing. We really hope you keep in touch with us. We're here to support one another, and I think you'll find that people who write humor share a lot in common. They have often kind of a different way of looking at the world and enjoy uh, kind of taking themselves not too seriously. And we live in some pretty serious times, so anything we can do to kind of lighten the moment, I think will be very welcome. Now, in terms of Crowdcast, obviously, I hope if things are working in your end, I'm watching the email, is fine, and we're going to have handouts for you. So if you have any technical problems, I'll be watching the screen and getting to you promptly as I can. But also, these recordings are going to be up for months, a full year with any luck. And that allows you a chance if you have to step out or take a call, we'll be here for you. But as you can see, the chat on the side is active, and I encourage you to enter something there if you have questions, and especially if your schedule is such that you've got to be gone in the afternoon, but you'd really like to ask the agents some questions, and by all means, put it in the chat. Let us know. Now, you can actually, if you look, you can flag your comment as a question. And why would you want to do that? Well, there's two reasons. Again, I don't want to get too technical, but I think it helps to understand a little bit of this technology. First up, if we suddenly get a flurry of questions and there's not a lot of time left, you can look at those questions and maybe someone's already asked your question. You can upvote it or find ones you really like. So we get to those. But I have asked our presenters if they would do us the courtesy, and most of them are very generous, to allow us to get questions to them after their sessions and get an email response or something we can put in our newsletter. So we really do want to take care of whatever you're curious about in relation to writing in general, the business of writing, comedy, and all its many aspects. So that's a good reason. The other reason that you might want to flag something as a question is that we are able to um, go back and watch these. You can actually see the chat when you go back and look at the recordings, and the questions are such that they're listed, and you can click on it. This is after the fact, and go to that spot in the recording. So these sessions are 50 minutes long. And while, I think they're very much worth your while, a few months from now, you might think, well, gosh, I remember that travel writer had a suggestion for how to take notes when you don't have any paper on you. How do you remember things? How do you spot the details that really make a story come alive? And if that is formed as a question, that'll be all a part of the documentation. And frankly, that's part of why we use Crowdcast over Zoom. Now, afterwards, we're going to have a Zoom session and be able to have some more direct interaction, which I think will be a lot of fun. So I'm seeing people over here. I'm really excited too. I'm glad to see various people, and we actually have at least two people who will be joining us from quite a ways away. One of our presenters lives in Vietnam, and he's getting up at 5 in the morning his time this afternoon, about three in the afternoon our time, to be a part of our event. So I think that's really wonderful that Dave Fox is going to be here. And one of our writers is from Australia. Actually, a couple, I believe, are. And they were trying to make sure their body clocks were set correct. So I hope to see them through the day today too. So by all means, we are looking forward to. Well, hello, Leanne, and I see some names I recognize from last year, and we have. If you haven't already seen, maybe I'll share my screen with you. I'll bring up. We have the contest winners announced, and we're looking forward to hearing from some of them, not all, but some of them this afternoon. And the ones that can't, we're still going to make sure that their material is read. So let me see if I can get over here, and let's see, I can scare the right team. Oops, I think I just shot myself in the foot. There we are. I have this open in two windows, and sometimes that creates some problems. So let's see if we can get over here. There we go. Technology can be our friend here. So let me see if I can share a screen with you and pick the right screen to share. And I'm looking, there they are. There's our award winners. I'm going to take a moment to celebrate them because a lot of work went in. It is very difficult to write short humor. And as you well know, if you look at the contest, we set the standards such you had 600 words in all to make us laugh and to either tell us something about travel or memoirs or a nonfiction item, and or just a family story. It could be a tall tale or something totally made up. Those are our three categories. And I think that was, pretty darn neat. So let me see if we can bring these up here. I think I have the right screen coming up here. Yeah, there we go. And so I know some of these folks are with us, and we are grateful they're here. And we had Death, if I can get this, Death by Circus Peanuts, which you'll hear later, is about the untimely demise of a hamster. Where is this? I can't read. I kind of put my glasses on here. Excuse me. The print is getting finer the older I get. I know that doesn't happen to anybody but me. Raise and Lows, about the curse of bread dough you have to share. And also Zoom in the Spectrum, a very candid, loving, but full of awkward moments, and having a child being homeschooled who has some special needs, special aptitudes and special needs. Humor for serious subjects, and I want to thank Anne for helping judge this category. We had Once Upon a Universe, and as Anne Janzer noted, it is really hard to make some subjects interesting, but this author did and made it witty too, so that was really great. Blood Heroes, a moving account that you'll hear later, and Good Morning Heart Attack, nothing more serious than a heart attack, but able to still be treated with some humor. And then also our travel category and memoirs, Water Aerobics, about having a kid later in life and kind of what that entails. Misadventures in the Amazon, a woman who doesn't particularly care to travel, and yet she's in the Amazon, which is full of all kinds of bugs and stuff that you'll hear about. And finally, Jose Hemingway and me, a look at travel with a bit of a twist. Sometimes finding the right guide can be a real trick, and you put yourself into other people's hands at times, and you hope it's going to land well, but you don't know. So and there you are. You are from Australia. Yep, Annette from Australia. I'm so glad you're with us. Silverdale, Washington, Reno, Chico, yep, and Grants Pass. So got people from all over here. And what I'd like to do now is go on and I think, let me check here. Let me look. We have a number of people with us. Let's make sure our first presenter is here with us. I think she may be in the next screen. She said she was logging in a moment ago, and I'm looking to see if I see her on screen or if I'm going to just sneak over and give her a hand here. Okay. Well, let me look at my email because I see her email saying I'm logging in, and I don't see her yet. So, you know what? If I can put someone on the spot, I am going to ask if I could have not our. Oh, there she is. There she is. There's Kathy. Kathy, it's a little early, but let me go on and invite you on the screen for a minute if I could. And if you think you want to give people like a little writing assignment in advance or something to think about, she's going to be our first presenter. So let me go on and make sure. I'm going to pull you on the screen here, see how this is going to work for us. And I will quit sharing screen and see if I can get Kathy here. Good morning.
Good morning. It's nice to see you.
I'm going to have to unmute.
You're screen sharing your email.
Oh, am I? Well, there we go. I thought I'd done that. So here we go. Or let me unmute my mic. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Awesome.
Okay, so a little bit of a tease. What should people expect to hear from you here in a few minutes? And is there anything that our writers might ponder or do to be ready to make the most out of their time with you?
Thinking about what you want as far as, are you looking to write more? Are you stuck? Sort of what the problem is that you think. And then we'll delve a little more into what tends to be the obstacles to writing and some solutions to them.
Okay. And again, I don't want to get ahead of your content here, but this is a very real thing for you, not academic. You had to figure this out after getting a book done and published. People think I'm set, but actually it was not. It wasn't once and done for you. You've had to kind of reinvent yourself and do all kinds of research.
Well, you wind up having a lot of different obstacles. I've been writing for over 20 years now, and I've published 31 books traditionally and self-published, and it has not been a smooth journey by any stretch. But I have been fortunate enough to learn a lot of different tricks and a lot of different techniques to kind of identify, okay, this is how to get back into it and how to be a working writer, a commercial working writer, which is what my goal has been. Good.
Well, I'm going to go on and let you go here for the moment. Let me see if I can do this. I don't know. It's been a year and I've got to practice back here. We'll unfocus you and let you stand down for a minute. Close video. There's someone else I want to welcome on screen too. I saw her, and well, I'll tell you what. Before I go, we heard an introduction from you, and I'd like to have our first two, or the one following on with you. I think Annie's there. I thought I saw her over in the wings, and we'll bring her on and let her say a quick hello. If I can get her up, there we are. And let's see, Annie, are you with us here? There you are. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Kathy, I'm going to let you go for now, and I'll bring you back in a few, see if you need to kind of gather any of your materials there. And if you want to share anything, I can put it up to be downloaded later if that would be appropriate. You let us know.
That's fine.
Okay, so let's let her go, and let's see who else I have in the wings. There we go. See if Ann's there, or if she's stepped away for a cup of coffee. I'm kind of putting people on the spot, doing a little bit of early introductions, hopefully to buy us a few more minutes of time.
I gotta wake up my camera.
Looking.
Hold on.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Annie, you with us this morning? I know you're there, but you're not due up yet. So
can you? There we go. I just had to wake up my camera. It was kind of sleeping. So
I hear you. So again, a little bit of a preview, not trying to squeeze more out of you than you got, but what could people do to be ready in an hour and a half when we see you? Look at the schedule. Anything preparatory that would be helpful for our writers?
A couple things. One, I want you to think about all the different kinds of writing that you do where humor could really play a role. So not just humor writing, for the, writing the funny story you're going to sell, things to make people laugh, but all the ways that humor can help you with all the kinds of writing that you do. And I also want you to just think really briefly about who are some of your favorite nonfiction authors, and do they ever make you smile while you are reading them? So those are my two things to entice you into our session on using humor when you're writing about other subjects besides humor itself.
Okay, well, thanks. Look forward to seeing you here in just a few on that.
Yep.
And let me go on and let you go. I'm gonna see who else we have here. Well, I'm really pleased to see we have a good crowd on a Saturday morning. All kinds of people who are giving up sleeping in to be with us, and from all over here. So we have just about 15 minutes until Kathy is slated to go. And I would encourage you, if you have any questions about the event, what we're trying to do here, anything, go on and put them in the column here. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the way this works is, you may have noticed, there's actually like 8 sessions scheduled. So this welcome and allowing people to kind of get logged in and realize, oh my goodness, I should, finish that cup of coffee or brew some coffee to get me through the day. This session is being recorded and will be available. But those of you that are in this session, what's going to happen is when we get near the end of it, I will click a button here and your screen may do some strange things for a moment, and you'll be moved to the next session, which is actually our first presenter, Kathy, who you've gotten to meet briefly. So that's kind of what's up with the technology behind this. And if for some reason you get thrown out, this is one of those things that sometimes there's a glitch, then by all means you should be able to log right in. And I will put in my chat here my email. If for some reason you find you're out and can't get back in, I'll be watching this. So I'm going to go on and put in the chat here an email you might want to take note of, and we'll do that. Okay, we'll do that real quickly here. All right, there we go. Did that take? I'm looking here. And what else here? Oh my goodness! And Denise is here from Kentucky. I hadn't scrolled my chat down to be looking at this. New York. Yeah, we tried to put the time such that people didn't have to get up at the crack of dawn or stay up till midnight. So that's why we have this bracketed time, and getting a note here. Okay. And I just got an excellent suggestion from one of our team here, and I would like you, if you could take a moment, get your keyboard going there, put into chat what you would most like to get out of this conference. What questions you have is one way of approaching it, but what your goals for yourself are. This conference, why did you sign up? What are you hoping? You're giving up part of a Saturday. Good for you. So what would you like out of this conference? And we'll respond to that. Again, I'll make sure that some of this gets directed specifically to our upcoming presenters who will be focusing on the topics we've talked about here. So let's see, Columbus, and more humor to my middle grade novels. Okay, well, Linda, Linda Kay, that's really a good goal. I have I don't know if I can share this or not. Let's see if I can pull this up. Most of what I have written over the many years I've been writing humor has been the kind of short form stuff. And let's see if I can pull this up. I'll go to Amazon here. And I am in the middle of working at going to longer form writing, which is both interesting and challenging for me. That's why I'm really thrilled to hear about creating comedic characters, having a cast. Sometimes you want a cast that will last for, our afternoon presenter has written screenplays, done stand-up comedy. And sometimes you want, in a movie, you want a cast of characters that's their time together. And when they're done, they've all experienced significant changes, and that may be the end, or maybe first of 3 movies, who knows? But sometimes you want characters in a sitcom that go on and on and on. So they may change, but not much. And you think of the things you've seen on TV from, Modern Family or years ago Seinfeld or whatever, that the characters are recurring, and that presents special challenges. So let's see who else here. Irma is looking to finishing a book on problem solving, and will throw humor into speaking, but not in writing. It's hard to figure out. And you're absolutely right, because a lot of it is knowing your audience. We've all talked about the idea of having kind of different personalities that at times you behave one way in a formal setting, like a job interview, when you're hanging with your friends and having an evening, maybe partying a little bit. There's stories you might tell or things you might share and find interesting in some settings and not others. So humor is really challenging. The better you know your audience, the better off you'll be. One of my favorite writers in motivation is, and maybe you're familiar with this book, is a man named John Acuff. And he's talked about kind of restarting your career or how you get through tough times you don't like, setting goals. Really a cool, fun person. And he talks a lot about, his time in the business world and how he has focused his audience. And he talked about giving a humorous presentation one time because he's also a speaker. And I teach public speaking, so I'm really, really keenly aware of this. He talked about going and presenting at a group of dentists, a national convention of dentists. And the year before, they'd had Dave Barry. But that year, he followed on Dave Barry. And you might think, oh my goodness, it's, how terrifying. But what John Acuff did was he researched all the aspects of being a dentist, all the things that drive dentists crazy. He learned their in-jokes, some of the stuff that, is part of being a dentist that people might not know. So he really researched his topic, and he got up and absolutely killed. People came up afterwards and said, you were funnier than Dave Barry. Well, Acuff's a modest fellow. He says, well, I spent time learning how to be funny to you, and you're a very specific audience. Being funny to a general audience, which is what Dave Barry does, and many others, Irma Bombeck before him, is tricky. And we're going to hear some advice on that. But that is definitely a thing. Find my voice and gain confidence in writing. And that's certainly an important thing. Enhance writing skills. And again, you're going to have a number of people who coached writing. And again, I promise not to make this one continual pitch, but you really should look at some of the books that, and there'll be links up. There's links up on our website that these individuals written. In some cases, that's how I came to seek them out, as I was familiar with their work and know of their writing. And they have some really helpful skills of all types. Spending time together with other writers who inspire us is a good thing, because writing can be a very lonely thing. And I'm going to steal a quote from Kathy Yardley, our first person to speak. And I actually, I put it in a master's thesis I wrote. And I wrote a master's thesis on the art of writing conferences, San Francisco Writers Conference, which is a thing very fond in my heart, and I encourage you to check that out. And one of the quotes I had in there really speaks to the idea of having a writing community. And Kathy Yardley says, we all write alone, but none of us succeed that way. None of us succeed that way. So it really is a matter of, you need people to give you feedback. You sometimes need people to encourage you. You need people to tell you to keep at it. And sometimes you need people, and I have a very specific person in mind who says, you need to get this in the hands of an agent. So we're going to try to help you with that and see if we can't make that easier. But again, you have email addresses on the website. You can reach out. I'm not an expert in everything. I do know a fair amount about humor writing from doing it on my own for years. But as you can see, I am connected with others that I'd be happy to refer you to. And many of these people you'll see today are willing to coach you, and you can approach them about that. So you'll find some guidance in Anne's session as she talks about very specific writing techniques. She has several books out. Kathy has a whole Rock Your Writing series, Kathy Yardley, on plotting, on editing, a whole wonderful series. In addition to her many novels, Anne has some very specific actionable things. Both of them coach. And another person says they'd like to learn different methods to add humor to novels. And again, that's very tricky because you're telling a story, you want it to be amusing, but how do you do that? And it's not always by telling a lot of jokes. It can be by having an interesting situation, situation comedies, that you want something where people are put in situations that they're challenged and they are forced to do sometimes strange things. Now, I know I may be dating myself a little bit here, but one of the great comedic classics in television was Lucille Ball, I Love Lucy. And if you look at and think about her comedy, a lot of it is because she, like a lot of comedic characters, like in some of my comedic work, is looking for a way to kind of beat the system. She's not a bad person, but she wants to win her way. And often when barriers come up, she tries to find ways around them that might not occur to you or me, and they get her in trouble. And so being in trouble is a big part of comedy. And again, I think that imposter syndrome is a part of this, as most of us think, well, but I don't know that. Other people are funny and I'm not. Well, one of the elements this afternoon from Dave Fox, if you look at the title of his, is you're better than you think, you're funnier than you think. We've all had things happen to us that can be comedic material. Sometimes we just need to learn to have the confidence to put it down and then to find a home for it. And that's something that will come up a little bit today, but it's also something that you'll probably see on our website. And that's the idea of building a platform, building an audience. It's challenging because you're competing with, keyboard kittens with a lot of free material. And so that challenge is finding a place to land your work and have it be appreciated. And again, one thing I learned a few years ago, and it's I think a good lesson for comic writers. I was taking a class in advertising because, again, I was trying to figure out, well, how do I get my material out there? How do I get people interested in it? And one of the biggest takeaways of the advertising class was, you're not going to have everyone like what you do, and that's okay. It is the rare person who writes for just a totally general audience. And you will hear that theme, I think, today, finding a particular style for you, finding a place where you can land it. That's okay, because really, think about it. Wouldn't you rather have a moderate to smallish audience of people really appreciate you, or a lot of people, who might take your work and not even read it? It might appear in a publication, they don't even bother opening it to look. So what we're hoping to do is offer you some really actionable advice, and again, have a place to hang out even when the conference is over. So what else do we want to say here? Nerd Boyfriend is one of my favorite webtoons. Yeah, there is some wonderful stuff out there. And again, I read as widely as I can, but I'm always having people refer me to new material that I'm looking forward to and having fun with. So I would encourage you to, along with stating your goals, if you have particularly movies you love, and you'd like to know how they pull that off in terms of writing that script, or situation comedies that you've seen, websites, publications, anything, even things like The Far Side. I'm still a fan of The Far Side. I remember being really sad when those things stopped. And that's really humor in a nutshell, humor in just an instant. So there's all kinds of ways of being funny, and we're going to be exploring that today. Now we have about 5 minutes before the next session begins, and it might be a chance to, give yourself a stretch or go grab that other cup of coffee. I'm going to hang out here and I'm going to pop over to my email and check that real quickly to make sure there's no one knocking on the door and frantically figure out something going wrong. So do a little tech check. But by all means, if you want to put a question in, have a suggestion, or just want to chat up your classmates and figure out how to get a hold of each other outside of class, that's part of what we're going to do in the after party. But by all means, this is a chance to do some community building. And often we learn the most from people who are kind of where we are. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to go on and say goodbye for now. I'm going to mute my microphone.
Hello. All right, everybody, let's stand up.
Stand up.
Stretch your legs.
Stretch your legs.
Get ready for our next session. Arms up in the air. Stretch to the ceiling. Deep breath in. Breathe in all that good vibes that are in this room today, and breathe out. And get ready for a fun day, Saturday. What a great way to spend our day.
All right. Get your stretch on, and I am going to go on and pull us all into the next session, and that'll be with Kathy. And let's see, there's a button to do that. Let me see here. So I'm going to go on and terminate this broadcast, and the screen will go black, but don't go away. You'll be brought into the next session in just a second. Okay. Let's let's see here. If I'm going to do it correctly, let me get this done here. There's a thing that says in the broadcast. Always makes me nervous here. So if for some reason I do something wrong, log back in. You'll be able to get back in. But they should move you to the next session. Let's see here. Let me get to Mark.